Careblazer, welcome back to the May series where I am sharing some of the most noticeable traits of successful Careblazers. And my hope is that by watching this series, you can take one or even several of these traits and start to practice them so that you can also have some increased success, feel better, have more peace in your caregiving journey. In today's video, I want to share one of the most powerful and simplest things any caregiver can start doing immediately to start having some of those successful responses. Now, we all know, if you've been watching me for any length of time, or maybe you're part of my care course, you know that our human brains have something called the negativity bias, which means that it's so much easier for us to notice the negative things over the positive things. That means that in caregiving, you are going to notice much more your loved one's difficult, agitated, distressed, hard, challenging behaviors more than any other behavior. We know that that's just natural. You can be the best caregiver in the world. You are still going to notice those challenging, difficult caregiving situations, and you're going to notice all of the things that your loved one does that gets under your skin and makes life more difficult. You're going to notice that so much easier than anything they do that is lovely or beautiful or wonderful. So knowing this information, we have to realize it is on us. We are going to be required to balance that out. And one of the things I see the majority of super successful Careblazers do is that they spend just as much time, if not more, noticing the moments when things are going well than they do spending time talking about and noticing the moments when things are not going well. This is what I mean. When they have a moment, no matter how few and far between, where the day seemed easier, or maybe just a moment of the day seemed easier, or their loved one seemed happier, or they seemed more happier or more at peace, they pause and they think to themselves, what about this moment made it easier? How come all of a sudden my loved one, who is usually against taking a shower or a bath, all of a sudden today was more willing? What was it about this situation that made things more enjoyable, peaceful, happier, etc.? So they're not just focusing on the hard times and the difficult times and how to stop it. They're focusing and catching and noticing and observing the things that went well and asking, what was it about this moment? And how can I take some of my ideas about what was going on in that moment and apply it to more situations in hopes that I could repeat and replicate that happening again? Let me share with you one of the most amazing stories. So inside my care course, we do all kinds of things. And one of the things that we do is we do some special programs every now and then. And one of the programs we just had last month was all focused on busting through difficult behaviors. Let's get to the bottom of those really difficult behaviors that you're really struggling with, and let's get you more success. So one of my amazing care course members showed up with her goal to get her husband to take a shower more often. She said he only takes a shower once a month. And so she was so frustrated talking about this, and we talked about it back and forth, and she's telling me how everything she tries doesn't work, and she could try to convince him he hasn't showered, tell him he stinks, tell him all the things, and none of it works. So this is an example, like so many amazing caregivers do, we're focusing only on what is not working. So in this program, we talked about, okay, so what is working? Tell me about the last time he took a shower willingly. And she says, well, this happens about once a month. And I was like, oh, okay, well, tell me what's going on once a month. What do you think is happening on those days? She goes, well, that's easy. He has a hairdresser's appointment once a month. And he always gets ready for that hairdresser's appointment because he likes seeing the lady, he enjoys talking to her, and he wants to be suitable when he goes there. Okay, that is fantastic information. We can work with that. Paying more attention to what is working, we can make that happen more often than you ever will paying attention to what's not working. So we had a discussion about, okay, what are all the ideas that we can come up with and talk about, knowing that he likes to get his hair washed and he will take a shower before that haircut. We talked about getting the hairdresser involved. He always goes to the same lady. We talked about maybe she would apply him or prescribe him like a hair scalp treatment that he should do in between appointments to make his hair even better, which would require him having to wash his hair. So maybe that would increase his willingness to take a shower at home. We talked about increasing the amount of times he gets his hair cut from once a week to every other week, since that was a big motivator for him. But this Careblazer, who initially at the start of the series was thinking to herself, nothing will work. This seems hopeless. I don't believe believe by the end of our conversation together in this one class, she said, oh my gosh, there are so many possibilities. Exactly. There are so many possibilities when you pay more attention to the moments that are working. And that's what I want to encourage all of you to do. Amazing, successful Careblazers are making an effort by asking themselves questions. What went right here? What's going right? They do that just as much as, oh my gosh, that went wrong again. What's going on? So if dinner went smoothly one night, ask yourself, what was it about tonight's dinner that made it more smooth? Was it a different time? Was it the type of food? Was it how it was served? Was it the amount of people at the table? All of a sudden, your brain is going to be thinking like a detective and looking for the clues. Success leaves clues. I know a lot of times it seems like some of this stuff is just happening out of the blue, randomly. They might be doing things on purpose to make our lives more difficult. But if we really pay attention to the moments when things are going well, or even just slightly better than they usually do, that's a moment to ask, what was it about this? What can I do? What can I change? And here's the real important thing to keep in mind. Your brain will still go to the negative stuff. Your brain will still focus on all the things that aren't going right. That's because we're human. We have human brains, and that's what our brains are going to do. But what our brains don't naturally do is look for what's going right. And the reason it doesn't look for what's going right is because that takes effort. That takes calories from our brain. Our brain's job for survival is to conserve as much calories as possible, to not do anything we don't absolutely have to do for our survival. And so our brain thinks just staying in the same place is a safe place, but that's not necessarily true. And so you have to train yourself to start looking for these things and start asking yourself and getting curious about the situations that go well. And the interesting thing about the story with this care course member is once we started having this discussion, she was like, oh my gosh, this is so simple. And I'm like, listen, no need to beat yourself up or get down on yourself. Of course, it seems simple now that we've come up with some possibilities and ideas. But when you are in the thick of it, when you are in the trenches of careblazing and you're trying to figure out what to do and you're really stressed and you just want them to take a shower, sometimes we can't see what's right in front of us, especially when we're so problem focused. When we are problem focused, we get more of the problem. We get more of what's not going right. When we're able to step back, get into a better, clear mode of thinking and start to become solution focused, then we can start to see things in a different perspective, through a different lens that wasn't coming to us before. And that's why it's also helpful to surround yourself with some people who can give you that input, who can give you that perspective. If you're not one of my care course members, perhaps you have another group of people you can talk to and chat with and share some of your struggles of what you're going through and get some feedback. Don't just share to complain. Don't just share to talk about everything that's going wrong. You want to share to say, do you see something here? Do you have any other ideas of what might work? You want to share from that perspective so that you'll be more likely to get some of the feedback and results that really could help you. And please use this approach, even if the good, happy, peaceful times don't happen very often, or even if it's not like a huge 180. Maybe it's just a little bit of an improvement you see. Something went just a little bit easier. Take note for what that is, because if you were to do that every single time, just a little, it got a little bit easier or a little bit smoother, all those things add up and they can be quite significant in the end. But sometimes we stop ourselves from even doing something like this because we think immediately, well, that's not going to work, or I never have a good day, or they're always difficult. When you have the thought they're always difficult, your brain will always notice and point out that they're always difficult. Number one, because you have the negativity bias, we all do. And number two, because we have the confirmation bias, we all do, which means that your brain is just going to confirm what you already believe to be true. And if you already believe that what your loved one is doing is on purpose and that nothing will work and they're always giving you a hard time and nothing is ever better, your brain will continue to feed you all of that example and evidence to prove it true. So you will have to be very careful what you think right now, what you're telling your brain, and instead start thinking about, like, make it a goal. Make it a goal today and every day to find one thing your loved one is doing well, or things that go smoothly, or something that was easier. Make that something you go on a hunt for every day, and I guarantee you, you will start noticing those things more and more. And as you start noticing those things more and more, you can then start asking yourself, okay, what was it about that allowed that to happen? What was it about this situation that maybe I can repeat and replicate? Okay, Careblazer, that is what I have for you in this episode of Traits of Amazing Successful Careblazers, is that you pay just as much attention to the good as you do to the not so good. That's it. Just balance it out. Just be a little bit more balanced. I promise you, you'll start to notice things that are going well, and you can start to get more of that to happen because you're paying attention to what went into that situation going better than usual. I am sending you so much love. Take care. Bye.
Also, Nico gets a belly rub for every person who subscribes from this video. So if you haven't already, click the red subscribe button. It's totally free, and Nico says thank you very much.